What up, friends? Welcome. Super excited to have you here for the next episode of the vlog. This is season 2, episode 4. Super excited for today's job. It's going to be awesome. Super excited that you guys are here along with us. This has been really fun relaunching the vlog. I'm here on running as the technician this week because our technician is out on vacation. He comes back here in a few days, so super stoked to bring you guys along today. It's going to be a great job. We are working with Rich again. It's going to be a little bit of an early day, so we got a lot of sales training going on this afternoon. So that's super exciting. That will be my next series of videos. I'm making the slog a sales log. So super excited. Today I've had a lot of feedback from you guys regarding pricing and things like that, how you guys want to hear about how I price things and, you know, things like that. So today I'm going to be talking a lot about pricing, how I figure out my pricing, what I charge for jobs. So I'm stoked about that. So let's get to today's job. Let's do it, guys. All right, just got buttoned up at the bank. Man, it's a little bit nippy today, man. Saw some people out with sweaters this morning. It actually got a little bit cold last night. Well, cold for California, so that means warm for the most rest of the country. But just finished up at the bank, had a deposit. Basically do deposit once a week. This week was a little bit low on the deposit just because we had 2 or 3 clients, bigger jobs, pay online with the credit card, so that worked out well. We take all of our online payment through Marquette. Marquette uses Square to accept credit card payments online. So that's what we use for credit card payments. So we're now gonna head over to the job, meet with Rich, and get going. All right, so first job is to replace this faucet here, because basically it's got a slow drip on it. And last time we were here, we actually replaced the angle stop valves. I don't know if you guys could see that. The angle stop valves and the lines. So basically it's just this guy that's dripping. And then we have one more faucet, which is upstairs. It's a 3-piece faucet, so I'll take you guys up there and show you that. All right, and then faucet number 2 is this guy right here. And same story here. Last time we were here, we actually replaced the angle stop valves and the hoses. Basically, it's just dripping, you know, from the faucet and also leaking from around here. So worked with the homeowner. This is a rental property. So worked with the homeowner and decided that it'd probably be a better idea just to replace the faucets. Same here and downstairs. So that's what we're doing. All right, so first things first, we're gonna turn off the water. So basically the water's on there, we're gonna turn it off, turn this guy off, and then turn these on just to let all the water out. And then these basically, since these are 3-piece, basically this whole sconce here just unscrews to get that handle off. And same with this one here. And then there's basically a clip around there. We call those Jesus clips. And then this guy comes up from below. All right, got the 2 lines off and then got this junction out. Basically, this just has a clip where when pushed in like that, it locks onto the unit. So this goes onto the main faucet. This goes onto, you know, one of the supplies, and this goes onto the other supply. So basically our new one is set up very similar to that. Has a junction like this. Now with these, we've had them actually kink in the past, so you got to be more careful with this style, you know, so hopefully we have some good luck with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a screwdriver to get these Jesus clips off. All right, got my screwdriver, gonna take these Jesus clips off. The reason why these, or why I was explained why they're called Jesus clips, is basically when you pop them off, they kind of fling everywhere and you're like, oh Jesus, where'd they go? You know? So you kind of want to be gentle because they are spring loaded. So they fly off God knows where. And since I already had that taken off, once I took that Jesus clip off, it just fell right through. So now we'll go ahead and get this guy off. Now we just got the main faucet to get off. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and get this rod out of the way here. All right, got my rod out of the way. So now I can use this puppy to try and undo that bolt there. And basically this is just a monkey wrench that it has an angle to it. Okay, there we go. And I also wanted to show you guys, this is basically the whole stem unit, and this is where the Jesus clip was, right around this hole here. So basically once I took that off, this was up above. Once I took that Jesus clip off, this thing just basically sunk right in. So that's what we're doing. So now we got the old one out. We just need to clean it up and get the new one in. It's as simple as that. All right, so we got our new units here. This one's got a fancy little thing that says hot. And these basically just have a screw on the bottom of them. So they don't have a Jesus clip. They don't come apart or anything like that. So that's pretty simple. So let's go ahead and pop that guy right there. We'll go ahead and go underneath. Screw this guy up and do the same for the other one. While I'm under there, I think I'll just put the cold in. Just so I only have to go under there once for these two guys. I'll probably have Rich come up here and hold this in the correct position. I think what I'll probably want to do, now that I'm looking at it, is install this one first. That way I can get a good straight line angle of where I want these faucet handles to be. So. Alright, we're having one issue here. This is basically the lock ring that needs to go around this, just for the cold water supply. But you can see when it's tightened on. Can you hold it down, Rich? When it's tightened on, sorry guys, I'm trying to do this with my left hand. So when it's tightened on, it doesn't fit around the sink there. It basically rubs up against the sink, so it can't flush up against. So I think what we're gonna have to do is grind a little bit off the outside. I don't really know. We gotta try and figure out how to make this work. So that's what we're currently working on here. All right, so I'm thinking that we'll create the flat spot on this ring, so it sits stationary, and then create a flat spot on this so it sits stationary, and then basically screw it down there, and then the Allen wrenches will give us our final adjustment. We'll kind of see if that works. So I think we should create a flat spot here on both this and that and see what happens.
So we're gonna alter it so that we can hold this up against the underside of the counter. And instead of screwing this up onto the valve,
right,
we're gonna screw the valve down into the ring.
Correct.
From the top.
Correct. I mean, that's our thought, because the only other option would be to move the sink this way or cut the granite, which we don't want to do either of right now. So, and try mod. Let's go out to the truck and see what we can modify. All right, friends. This would be like Rich said, this would be a hiccup, right?
Right.
In the particular
Things you sometimes don't see when you're bidding your job.
Right. Okay, so I'm thinking we could even take that much off. All right, that's the one problem with using someone else's tools is you don't know where they keep everything. So I know he's got files, but all I could find is this guy. So we'll see what happens here. Frank's probably watching this video being like, that's right there, guys. All right, I'm thinking we just need to run an extension cord. We're just gonna run an extension cord out to the house. All right, we got an extension cord, got power on it. It's the way to do it right there. It's the way to do it, Rich.
Right tools make all the difference.
Right tools make all the difference, you're right. Alright, so what we got right there. We're going to try and replicate that on this guy and go from there. Without damaging it. Don't want to damage it. So now we got a half cut there and a half cut there, and we'll see if that gives us enough room.
We have an Allen to fit those.
And yep, we have an Allen in there to fit them, so let's go in there and give it a try. Curious to see if this will work.
Okay.
They look
A
good?
little off center. Can you go a little bit more toward the faucet?
Yeah. That way?
Like that.
Oh yes, perfect.
Well, now it's a little okay. I think we're good though.
Okay. Working so far. I like it. Now when you get close, just kind of set it, you know, to where you want it, and then I'll tighten the Allen wrench down.
Okay.
You
That
feel like
is.
you're good, or can you go one more
Wait,
turn?
wait a second. Wait. Either one more turn. I'm gonna have to back up a little. Let's see.
Okay. Then that will just have to be it. Tell me when you want me to tighten the Allen wrench.
Oh, make sure it's in good position here. Okay, I think.
I think it needs to go a little more, judging
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way these look, right? Yeah, like right there. Okay, you ready?
I want to make sure it's not. Okay.
And feel.
Oh, that's good and tight.
Okay. All right, guys, let me show you what we got here. We basically got the whole faucet in, working good. I still need to, you know, basically do all the plumbing, but I'll show you guys here how our modification worked out. So this is basically what we had to do. You see this is where the flat side was. We cut that just perfectly. so it fit in there, and he basically screwed it in from the above, and then there's these 2 Allen wrenches on either side to get it its tight fit. And you can see the hot side had plenty of room, but the sink is just a little cockeyed or whatnot. But we got it in there, and then we got this guy in. So now we just need to hook our lines up from here to these guys, and then the hot side over here, and then the cold side over here, and then turn our angle stops on, and we'll be ready to go. Okay. Once you get those installed, you want to kind of pull on them to make sure that there's no, you know, they don't come loose or anything like that. And while I'm under here, I'm going to go ahead and turn my water back on. Make sure there's no leaks going on. Okay, so I got my hot and cold on. We'll go up there and give it a try. Alright, and then with most new faucets, they come with new, basically pop-up assemblies. So we're going to go ahead and install this guy. This guy's a newfangled device that's basically just a click in rather than a screw in. That goes there, and then this guy goes here, and then basically as you pull up, the stopper goes up and goes down. So that's pretty much that. So we're going to go ahead and get that guy replaced right now. Alright. Got that faucet out. That thing had been leaking for a little while. Oh, that thing's super rusted.
I wanted to undo it.
Yeah, this kind of has some signs of possible leakage too.
Right.
Yep. So it's good that we're getting that whole thing replaced. Awesome. All right, heading out to get a bucket. I don't know if you guys saw that a few vlogs ago. I talked about those tidy tracks, those shoes that we put on. Those are really a lifesaver. You know, they sure beat buying disposable booties every time, and then disposable booties fall apart, and it's just the worst, you know. So so we've had good luck with those tidy tracks. They're really awesome, and the clients like them. The clients are like, whoa, those are really nice. So put you one step above the competition, if not anything else. So gonna grab a bucket, then I'm gonna go back up there and get my drain installed. Woohoo, look at that. Would you look at that? That's nice. Look at that, guys. That's hair. How's that right before lunch? Yeah, that's looking good. Oh man, yeah, that's nice to see right there. Okay, we'll get all this cleaned up and get our new guy installed. No wonder this sink was slow draining. So we're fixing 2 problems here. Look at us go. Okay, and when putting these in, usually you use plumber's putty, but this is actually a plastic unit. So with plastic, you don't want to use plumber's putty. What they recommend is using 100% silicone. So we're going to go ahead and take this unit off, get this guy ready. I usually like to peel off this colored tape just because it's a little bit easier to peel off now than when it's actually on there. So I'm going to apply a little bit of 100% silicone there, put that down there, and screw this in from above. So. Once you get that screwed in, basically you just screw this up into place. we got our sink popper installed. That operates correctly. So that's great. We're gonna let that silicone dry for a little while, and then we're gonna go ahead and test it all to make sure it works, make sure there's no leaks. So we'll let this sit, get cleaned up here, and then when we're all done cleaning up, then we'll go ahead and run our faucet and make sure everything's working smoothly. All right, we're gonna check for any water leakage down here while we got the water running. Everything's looking good thus far. What I typically like to do is seal off that stopper, let the sink fill up a little bit, and then drain it. That's usually the best test for the drain because you get that big old rush of water that comes down through the P-trap. And if there's any minute leak, that's when you'll find it. All right, here we go. All right, we successfully completed our leak test, and there's absolutely no water, so we're looking great. Fantastic. Hot water works, cold water works. I'm gonna go ahead and run this hot water to make sure that we're getting hot water up here. Just because that's always a nice touch. You don't want the client to call you back and for some reason say, oh, there's no hot water getting here. So we want to make sure that's working. All right, we got hot water here. So got hot water here, we're looking good. Let's go down and check on Rich. Did you grab the silicone from me? Or I brought it down?
You must have brought it down.
Oh, all right then. Look at that, we're on top of things. So getting her all cleaned up, and then you got a plastic deal too, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that requires some silicone, so awesome. Okay, this Anderson door was rubbing on the bottom. It was basically rubbing on the threshold. So what I did is these Anderson doors have adjustable hinges. And as you can see here, right here, there's an Allen wrench that goes in there. And it says if you spin it that way, counterclockwise, it goes in. If you do it clockwise, it pushes it out and in. Each hinge has that. So basically I adjust the top hinge in, this one in a little bit less than the top, and then that one in a little bit less than that, because there's a fourth bottom one, I didn't touch that. So basically, what that did is just brought the door up this way to allow it, so it's not rubbing on the threshold. So that was a good fix there. Got this faucet in. Let me check it again for leaks. Everything looks good there. And then while we were here, before we left, I asked if there was anything else that needs to be done, because this house is a rental. So I asked the tenants, and said there's a screen in the upstairs bedroom that needs to be replaced, and then 3 window balancers that need to be replaced downstairs. That just, the door or the windows are just super hard to go up and down. We've replaced balusters, I think, or balances. I think we did it in this window in the past. So we'll just need to get some for down there. I'll talk to the homeowner about that. So Rich will get buttoned up and then we'll be all done here. Hey guys, just walking out here. I wanted to show you guys, this was my very first repair at this house right here. This drip system. That was probably over 3 years ago. My first repair, this guy called me out for that drip system. Had blown off and was leaking whenever he had turned his drip on. This house is owned by a guy that we've worked for about 3 years. And about a year ago, he moved, him and his family moved, and turned this thing into a rental. So it's been a rental ever since, and we've been doing all the maintenance on it. Basically, the majority of our work, this guy, he's a really amazing homeowner. Every time we come, you know, he wants us to do our 22-point home inspection, so we check everything in the house. And that's why we did all the angle stops and all that, just because they were the old one-piece, basically, you know, plastic insert stuff. And then we did a whole bunch of other work. So he's super cool about doing more work. So we got probably some more work coming, but hang on one second. I'm going to talk about pricing for this job, but we're gonna get all cleaned up here, and then I'm gonna come back and talk about pricing and what we priced, what we charged, how we figured that out, and then what we will charge for the upcoming project. So let's get all this cleaned up, and then we'll go from there. All right, we'll do one last check in here. Make sure everything's good. I'm just gonna double check this for any leaks. All right, everything's looking good. Good job, Rich. Okay, friends, we are all done with this job, and like we had talked about before, we're gonna talk about pricing, okay? So I'm gonna warn you guys right now, you might wanna sit down, you might wanna, you know, put your drink down, because you're gonna hear some crazy stuff, and also, you know, weigh your victim mentality when you're hearing this, okay? Because we understand that all of our pricings are different, and we all have to charge different things to make things happen. It's funny, in our Handyman Journey Mastermind group on Facebook, one of the most common questions about pricing: how do you price this? How do you price that? How do you figure out an hourly rate? Well, one guy said, you know, it would be great if one guy wrote a book about it. And then he tagged me, right? So we have a whole book on it, right? This is the Handyman Pricing Handbook. If you are interested in exactly what we're talking about here, how do you price? How do you figure out hourly rate?
All you gotta do is ask.
All you gotta do is ask. You know what I mean? You ask and you shall receive. This is for you guys. Okay, so one thing that I would say is, in this book, it talks a lot about mindset, pricing mindset. You have to know what you need to charge and not be afraid to charge that, okay? Even though you might think it's super a lot of money, you gotta be ready to charge that, because that's what your business needs you to charge. That's what your employees need you to charge. Because if you don't charge that, I'm taking food out of his mouth. And he's not gonna last very long if he doesn't have food.
Raise next week, right?
Oh, now he's talking about a raise, watch out. Okay, so you need to figure out, in this book, I give you a whole, you know, formula of basically things you need to look at, figure out exactly what your expenses are, and then there's a calculation to figure out what your hourly rate needs to be. It all boils down to an hourly rate. You might say, oh, well, we don't charge by the hour. Yeah, we don't charge by the hour. I don't recommend charging by the hour, but it has to start with an hourly rate, okay? And then basically you rate jobs from there. So, you know, you might look at a job, be like, oh, that'll take me about an hour, right? And so when you figure that job will take you about an hour, you apply an hourly rate to that. If it's gonna take you 2 hours, you apply 2 hours. Does that make sense, right? Am I explaining it well?
I think so.
Okay. And
figure out what you need per hour, but you don't actually quote it per hour. You just quote it per job.
Right.
Or
and
per project.
And then in this book, we also talk about, don't just look at your expenses right now, but look at your expenses where you want to go. So where is your business going to be at in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years? Are you going to have 3 employees? Are you going to have 4 employees? Are you going to have 5 employees? What do you want to pay those employees per year, right? Do you want to give them vacation? Do you want to take them to Hawaii every year? Like, you know, do you want to give them medical insurance? What are some things that you as a business owner want to provide for your employees? And you need to calculate that into your hourly rate. So if you want your business to grow that way, you need to start charging that now, because there's no way your business is going to grow unless you start charging right now. So I will tell you guys right now, and again, sit down, you know, put down that glass of water. Our hourly rate, you know, hourly rate is $200 an hour, okay? That's typically, we range between $200 and $250. And that's how we price the majority of our jobs. And again, you may be in, you know, somewhere in Oklahoma, and you may only need to charge 50 bucks an hour, and that's fine. I respect that, as long as you've done the math and figured that out precisely. So the 3-piece bathroom faucet that I did upstairs, we charged 250 bucks for that. The 1-piece faucet we did downstairs, we charged 250 bucks for that. That was labor. And then we adjusted the hinges in the upstairs bedroom, 75 bucks for that. Debris haul off, that was 30 bucks. Mileage charge was $19.87. And again, calculate your miles, know how much, you know, your trucks cost to drive to a specific place, and calculate that via miles. Again, all this is in the book. You can figure all this out. And then materials, you know, we charge a markup on those. The 3-piece faucet, we charged 80 bucks for that. The 1-piece faucet, we charged $57.55 for that. And then we have miscellaneous job supplies at $10. So total job price was $772.62. You have any other questions? You have questions listening to that?
Did you want to give them an idea? Although, depending on where you are regionally, it may be another formula, but did you want to give them an idea of what you charge as far as a markup on on the materials?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So marking up materials, this is a huge debate, and I actually have a video on it that really got a lot of, good feedback and also some bad feedback. I'll put that up here in the description below, or up here in the video so you can watch that, how to mark up materials. We basically use a matrix where most of our jobs, most of our materials fall within 50%. So we mark up our materials 50%. Some materials you might want to mark up 70%, some you might want to mark up 20%. Again, there's no like fast set rule. Same with the hourly rate. There's no fast set rule. You know what I mean? You might be like, well, that's going to take me about an hour, but he's got all this other stuff that we're doing while we're there. So I might bump it down to 45 minutes, Like because if you can maximize your time, maximize your profit essentially on the job, you may be able to charge a little bit less for each individual job. So that's kind of my philosophy on pricing. I would absolutely love to hear it. All you naysayers, go ahead and do your thing in the comment section, and give me some love. And I just challenge you guys, pick up this book and really figure out what your hourly rate needs to be. I'll put a link in the description below. It's an Amazon link to get this Handyman Pricing Handbook. And also, we talked about those tidy tracks earlier. I'll put a link in the description below where you guys can find those. Those are not one size fits all, so you're going to need to measure the shoe that you use and buy the tidy track specifically to that shoe. So, you have any final thoughts, Rich?
I don't think so. I think you covered it all pretty well for now.
All right, cool. And if you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer them because I love educating. So, I'm going to take Rich. He doesn't know it yet, but we're going to go out to a new subdivision and look at some houses that are being built.
He's a great teacher. I'll listen to.
So we're gonna go learn about how they build houses. So that's gonna be fun. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate y'all, and we'll catch you on the next vlog. Have a great day, guys.